we were running. We'd been out in the day or whatever. Blah blah blah. Maybe did a little hunting or something. I don't even remember. But anyway, we were driving to go to like Blockbuster to get a video, and we were pulling by his dad's place, and there was a whole shitload of deer out in between the pasture. Like,
so this was last week.
huh?
So this was last week.
So then
Blockbuster.
He pulls in with his truck like up the driveway. They all freeze. So he grabs the gun off the gun rack. So they're frozen in the headlights basically, and he drops one, right? And then he's like, "Oh, I got it."
Illegal.
Yeah, yeah, it's on his property. Illegal. That's Chuck Johnson. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's Chuck Johnson.
Story,
yeah.
right? And then we go up to it, and he pulls out his knife, and he's like, "No!" And then just watching that happen, I'm not expecting it. He just walks up, picks up its head, slits its throat, blood squirts, blah blah blah. We get a little bit honest, and then we're like, "Okay, well, we got to get to Blockbuster before it closes. We'll come back. I'll come back and get."
All right, I'm going to Blockbuster.
Right?
Could you imagine you're dying? The thing you hear while you're dying is just, "All right, I'm going to Blockbuster."
Well,
I'm not a big pork guy either. I'm a fish and chicken guy most of the time, or deer. I love deer meat.
Really?
Yeah, I mean that's what I grew up eating, mainly deer meat. We didn't really. I mean, if we had like,
You're like your family was like Native Americans.
Just like it.
You went out.
No.
Somebody in the family would go out and hunt a deer.
Yeah.
How
And then
many
we
deer
eat
would
it.
your family go through in a year?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Dad hunted almost like every day. I mean, I went a few times. I mean, I went growing up and stuff, but like I didn't hunt as much as Dad. But like, I don't know.
Would he just every day he obviously had a job?
Yeah. But whenever he got off, he's like, okay, I'm going to go in the woods and sit in a tree stand and hunt. And then get something sometimes, and then sometimes not. Like we had like deer burgers, deer taco, deer.
That's what I mean. It was like
deer.
you'd get a deer, and it would be like, did he have a place in the yard where he would hang it and skin it?
The garage.
Really?
Yeah. Because it would be cold at night, so you could just kind of keep it in there and let it hang. We used to go to a butcher.
That's what I mean. Then you start cutting it down, and then you take it to a butcher and get it cut up into steaks.
No, he does it himself now. Like Dad will call her and be like, I got a deer. And then Mom has to go and she gets like the grinder to like ground some of the meat.
Gets it out of the shed or goes and rents one?
No, they have a meat grinder at the house. It's like part of a KitchenAid thing. It's like it goes on her little mixer, and then they just.
How much of the deer do they use?
Pretty much all of it. I mean, other than like they don't eat like the guts or anything.
And what does he grind that up and throw it in the compost?
I think they ate the heart one time. That was about it. Yeah, you get like the back strap, they call it, the tenderloin. And you get the fillet inside right there. And you get like the shoulder, rump.
What's the best steak?
Filet, filet mignon.
Okay.
That's like the stuff inside. It's real tender because inside, I guess.
So it's similar to the steaks of a cow.
Yeah, I mean not as big, but
I mean as far as like where the best steaks are.
Yeah. And then like the butt and shoulder stuff, like you turn that into like ground stuff. And then some of it you can make into jerky. We'd have jerky like every winter.
Do you do like do you do like a leg, like a deer leg, where it's like, you know what I mean?
No, on like a big mutton thing. No, no, I don't remember us ever doing. I'm sure some people do.
Now do they grind up the hoofs and stuff too, or do they,
Yep.
What do they do with the feet and stuff? You just throw it into the. You have
like when he was in the woods, most of the time you just cut them off and kind of something will eat it.
Right. So you start to take them apart in the woods.
Yeah. Something eats it. So it doesn't really go.
Or something? How do you just?
Sometimes you get a little hacksaw, like that.
Oh, something about that makes me cringe.
It was so normal to me as a kid, and now looking back, I'm like, I could see why that wouldn't be normal to people.
To be like, I'm sawing, like you're sawing through the fur and the thing.
I mean, like the first time I saw it, I was like, whoa, and then after a while, I was like, oh, okay.
I would think I would go with like I would have like a pair of loppers on a belt.
Oh yeah, sometimes you do that too. Yeah, he has those too.
Just chop off the feet.
Mm-hmm. Like hedge trimmer things.
And then I guess that starts. To help drain the blood before.
Yeah, and then you hoist it up, and then it drains, and then you kind of cut the head off, and then it drains the blood out.
How do you cut the head off?
Hacksaw.
That doesn't. You don't feel like a fucking serial killer when
It's
you're
already
doing that?
dead.
But still, like,
It's not like you chase it with a hacksaw. You don't jump out of the woods with a hacksaw.
I know, but even hanging, if I'm just like hacking through, like,
Yeah.
seems.
It's like a
kinda-
butcher. It's a butcher thing.
I know, but it just seems. It seems a little.
It's the best way to do it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I
Because
think.
then you get dirt and grass if you do it on the ground, I guess.
So, I did have a time one time where my buddy Chuck Johnson. So Owen and I were joking about this yesterday. He's sort of the guy I bring.
Chuck Johnson sounds like
Chuck
a.
Johnson stories. Like,
Yeah.
When we went down to Chuck Johnson's Ford Bronco, we destroyed the homecoming float.
If you
to the
say a
school.
dude's like first and last name, it's like old Chuck Johnson. You know,
Yeah,
he's crazy.
the guy whose house we went to after school and drank and watched He-Man or whatever. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
that
Like,
sounds awesome.
He's the guy we always got into trouble with. And
Yeah.
he was a great dude.
He-Man.
It was awesome. And anyway,
Shout out Chuck Johnson.
shout out Chuck Johnson, dude. We were down in McDonough, Georgia, at his place.
Of course,
for the
Chuck
weekend.
Johnson lives in Georgia.
Of course he does. And we were running. We'd been out in the day or whatever. Blah blah blah. Maybe, and we were maybe did a little hunting or something. I don't even remember. But anyway, we were driving to go to like Blockbuster to get a video, and we were pulling by his dad's place, and there was a whole shitload of deer out in between the pasture. Like,
So this was last week.
huh?
So this was
Yeah,
last
yeah.
week.
So then
Blockbuster.
He
Yeah.
pulls in. He pulls in with his truck like up the driveway. They all freeze. So he grabs the gun off the gun rack. So they're frozen in the headlights basically, and he drops one right, and then he's like, "Oh, I got it." So
Illegal.
yeah, but it's on his property, illegal. That's Chuck Johnson. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
that's Chuck
Johnson's story,
Johnson, yeah.
right? And then we go up to it, and he pulls out his knife, and he's like, "Now," and just watching that happen. I'm not expecting it. He just walks up, picks up its head, slits its throat, blood squirts, blah blah blah. We get a little bit honest, you know. So then we're like, "Okay, well, we got to get to Blockbuster before it closes. We'll come back. I'll come back and get."
All right,
this."
I'm going to Blockbuster.
Right.
Could you imagine you're dying? The thing you hear while you're dying is just, all right, I'm going to Blockbuster.
Well, we slit his throat, and we'll leave it here. We'll come back and grab it on the way back.
You just left it there
Well, he slit its throat.
at night?
It was like what time does Blockbuster close? 7. It was like the sun had.
But I'm
just
assuming this
recently
is in the winter time, so it's probably dark pretty early.
I don't even know what time it is. I don't
Yeah.
remember if it's winter, summer.
What movie did you get?
I have no idea about that either. But I do remember when we got in there, them looking at us.
Because you were covered in blood.
Yeah, and I said, now I don't even remember what I said, but something along the lines of, yeah, we were worried his mom wouldn't give us the credit card. You know what I mean? Like, I made some joke like we had just murdered somebody. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, and then we went back, got our movies, blah blah blah, went back, and then threw it in the truck. And, you know. But yeah, that time watching it get its throat slit and was enough to me. Just looking at its little eye, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's not fun. Like, no hunter is like, my favorite part is watching it die. Like,
Yeah.
nobody's, they're just like, my favorite part is.
Don't say no hunter, because the guy that sounds like that is his favorite.
Sure, I'm sure there are some people who are like, I like watching the life go out and it's out. But most people most hunters have like a respect for this animal and they love it. I forget who it was.
But that's what I mean. You're like,
Was it Shane talking about it? He's like, people who live in cities have like this idea of animals and then like animal rights and whatever. But people who actually deal with animals every day are like, know more about animals. So they're like, have a different view.
They have a different connection to it. Right?
Yeah,
Because
people who hunt have a very different connection to it than people who saw Bambi.
That's why you're like, whatever, that's what you do, and I'm
Yeah.
like, ooh, you know.
Yeah.
But I've also seen it and been around it, and you know, shot a squirrel or two here or there.
Yeah.
Not even two, just one, you know. But you're just you don't meet people that casually. They're like, oh yeah, my dad hunted every day. That's how we fed us. Like,
Yeah.
So is there there's a hunting season? There's 2 different hunting seasons.
Yeah, there's like rifle season and bow season. It's always like kind of in the winter and fall.
What does he do when it's non-hunting season? Does he still go out into the woods? I mean, if that's something you do every day, that's a hard habit to break.
It's not you look forward to it every year. It's like, okay, the season's over. And he was a Division of Natural Resources officer, so he couldn't break the law.
Right. When
So-
the season's over, like,
He
there
is a
playoff
division
time?
master.
Is there playoff time in hunting season?
Yeah, there actually kind of is. You put the cameras out and you see where these big deer are, and you're just like, oh, I got a big 8-point out in my woods or whatever. I'm gonna wait to see it, so you don't just shoot the first one. You're like, oh, I want to get that one that's got a big rut or whatever.
You
know,
only
they
get
rut.
so many a year.
I actually don't know the answer to that question. You have to buy tags, I know. But like for me, it was like my grandpa had property, and then my dad was a DNR officer. So anything I did, I was like, well, this is legal. I was never like, how many?
Well, did any of your brothers get into that was their thing too, going hunting with that?
Yeah, my brother Jared still hunts like religiously like my dad, but my oldest brother Aaron, like I think last year he killed was with his car, maybe.
I have killed deer with my
Yeah, I've never.
I love that though, man. I love that idea that like that's their thing. Like go out and because like again, going back to the buffalo and the Native American, like you're using it. Like that's how he's feeding his family.
Yeah. And it wasn't like, oh, this is survival. It's just like, hey, we'll save some money and it's fun. Like I enjoy doing this. So
in the off season, you still hunt, but you don't shoot or bow hunt. You still go out, but that's when are you sort of scouting for new areas where you're going?
I mean, you can, like leading up to it, but I don't think people just go out and just like, I'm going to see where they are. But I mean, I don't know.
Seems like that would give you edge during hunting season to put in the work.
Sure, yeah. But like some people who don't, if you don't have land, a lot of it's like, if you do have land, it's like, I know where it is.
I get the feeling if your dad goes hunting every day after work, it's not even about the.
Yeah, he knows where he's going to go.
But it's not even about the shooting and killing the animal. It's about being in the woods.
Yeah, that's his favorite part.
So that's what I mean. But that seems weird then that you'd be like, oh, I can't kill him this month, so I'm not going in the woods. Like it seems like the going in the woods is the thing that you really enjoy. And you'd still get the excitement of seeing the thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that is a very good point. Never thought of that.
So he kills a bunch, and then you got a couple freezers, and you.
Well, he also fishes, so whenever he's not hunting, you go fish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like in the spring and whatever, you go bass fishing.
And you got really none of that. You got really none of that sort of in you of going.
I still like fishing. I'll do that every now. I haven't in a while, but I don't know. I'd probably go hunt. I would go hunting with my dad, but by myself, just like I don't know. Yeah. And it's not like I feel bad thing. It's just
it's like I don't go out and play baseball.
Yeah, like you like baseball, but you just don't go out play baseball.
Like so. That'd be funny though. Like you live in an apartment and it's like you get out of here and you're like, I'm gonna go hunting today. Or you like?
Yeah, it's also like, dude, I live in an apartment. It's like, what am I?
Your wife's like, what's for dinner? And you're like, let me go catch some food.
Yeah, and I don't have the same connections I did when I was in West Virginia. So it's like, I think last time I went hunting was squirrel hunting. I did kind of feel bad during squirrel hunting because it's like. I got like 3. This was like back in early college, and I did it.
I don't care about squirrels. I get, they're in my backyard. Whatever.
But I felt bad because I got them all. I got like 3 or whatever. I got all the squirrels. I got like 4. I don't remember. And then like I took them to my dad. I was like, look at all the squirrels I got. And he was like, yeah, we can't eat them because you were like 2 feet away when you shot. Like because they'd pop out. And then it's like we couldn't even use it. And I was just like, oh, now I feel awful.
There's no good meat on it, depending on where you shoot.
Well, if you like blow it up or whatever, and it's full of pellets and stuff, I messed up, and then I felt really bad, and I was like, I don't want to do this one no more.
You can't do squirrel nuggets.
You need to get enough to make something out of it, like squirrel gravy. Squirrel gravy is very good.
You have to be a really good shot with the squirrel. You need no.
I mean, well, to use it, like. I don't know, you shoot for the head or whatever, so you don't, because nobody really eats the head. But I was just like, oh, I got to get them. And then it was like, oh, I feel bad.
Did your dad give up, would he go squirrel hunting specifically sometimes? Because you're like, you know what I mean? You're having.
The only time I really remember him squirrel hunting was when we were little. I don't really know of my dad being like, I want to go squirrel hunting.
Okay. That's sort of, they're just practice. Because I feel like I could catch 4 squirrel in my backyard just with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You probably could. I mean, like, yard squirrels are pretty easy, but wood squirrels a little different. Yeah, I don't go squirrel hunting anymore.
Okay.
I haven't been hunting in a long
I
time.
think that'd be interesting for you to go home to your apartment with something you caught, and be like, let's go into the tub, let's slice this thing up, let's get in
Yeah,
the kitchen.
exactly.
You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
have anywhere to do it. A fish, maybe I could do that.
Do you think you could go catch dinner for your wife one day, like you had a Saturday, and you around here you went out and either fished or hunted, and you could.
Yeah, I could do that.
You should do that. It'd be an interesting thing to do.
It would be interesting, but it'd also take a lot of time.
When you could just drive to the Chinese restaurant and get whatever.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I'll just go down the street and get. I'll pay $9
That's
for.
so true, man.
Yeah.
But do you miss like doing that stuff with your dad? Like going
Yeah,
out
that's why when I go in, I'm like, yeah, I'll go with you hunt. I actually did go hunting 2 years ago, maybe, I think, just with my dad. So I was like, I like hanging out with my dad.
It's not a lot of shh.
Not really, no.
You don't have to get quiet so that.
I mean, we're good whisperers. I'm actually a pretty stealthy dude, honestly.
What do you mean?
I can walk in the woods and sound pretty quiet.
All right.
Also, like growing up, I never really thought of the woods as scary until like I got older and would watch scary movies, and it would like make the woods scary. I mean, obviously, the dark was scary when I was a kid, so like the woods at night was scary, but like the woods in general was never like creepy. And then like
There was nothing to really. There's no bear or mountain. There's no or what are the
in West Virginia, I mean, it's just like black bears, but they're like more scared of you.
Is the black bears get big or the black bears get
They're not very
no,
super
I mean,
big.
When you see a black bear, do you get big or do you
I
get
think that's the one you get big and like, "Urgh."
and a brown bear you don't. That's where you.
Yeah,
stay
you're
dead.
you're doomed. I feel like with a brown grizzly bear is probably the one that you're messed up with. Like a brown bear, it's like I don't know. You could maybe take on one. I don't know, take on one, but it could go either way. A brown bear, black bear. It's like I'm probably going.
I'm gonna surprise you a little bit and surprise Eric Trundy a little bit here and say I think the brown bear can take me. I don't have a chance against a brown bear.
Wow, the humility coming from you right now.
Yeah.
We love to see it. The humility. Like it took a animal with razor sharp claws to be like, maybe I won't.
Well,
and
that-
honestly, even in your like admission there, you're like, I don't think it might. Yeah, I
Well,
think it's
you
got
just
me.
said you could take out a brown bear. Like you,
No, I was. I'm not saying me. I'm saying like,
in theory, somebody could.
yeah.
I'm not that guy. Is what I'm saying.
No, I'm not either. And they can climb too, so don't climb a tree.
But there's not.
I don't think you're supposed to play dead either. I don't think that's a real thing.
What are the other? Are there mountain lion or what's a good?
There's no mountain lions in West Virginia that I know of. There was coyotes.
Okay.
I almost said, you know what? I'm going to say it. Coyotes. That's what
Coyotes?
there's coyotes there.
Do you, I mean, so you missed the hunting more than you missed sort of the going into the garage and cutting the thing up with your.
I mean, that wasn't particularly fun, but
It doesn't get to be like, oh, this is like where you're doing it, where you're just.
I mean,
taking
it's
the skin off and you're.
it's
"Oh, this is good
interesting
meat,
to see
this is a good
yeah,
one."
it's interesting to see like the craft, I guess, but I was never like I never took a lot of interest in it. My brother did, Jared, but I didn't really. I liked the woods part and being with my dad part and eating part.
But the cutting it up and figuring out where.
It was cool to know how to do it, but if
Know
I didn't
how to
have
pe-
to do it, I'd be like, yeah, dad'll
So
do
you
it.
know how to peel it and do all this, do all what you got to do.
I don't know. I mean, maybe some of it would come back to me, but I never actually like did it myself. I mean, like I'd help my dad do it, but I don't know. Maybe some of it would come back. I don't know.
So you got the hoofs cut off and it's hanging. Like
Yeah.
And I'm assuming do you just make a slit down and then just sort of peel that
Yeah.
off?
Mm-hmm.
And so this first step is to sort of gut it open and then.
Well, you gut it before you hang it up.
Then you peel all the. Oh, really?
Yeah. You kind of gut it, and then you just kind of and dump it, and then you hang it up.
And you hang it up, and its insides have been dumped out, and it's got
Mhm.
just a slit down it. And then you do the slicing and peeling the skin off.
Yeah. Well, you cut the head off too. Well, no. Then you do the. Yeah, you're right. Then you do the pulling down, and then you cut the head off.
Is that?
And then it's like a head with like all the
Does it
skin.
normally come off sort of like in one piece? Or do
Yeah.
you have to like.
It kind of does.
Yeah. And then you pull that off.
It's
and
like a cardigan.
Okay. So I feel like if your dad rips that off, I could just picture you as a kid, and he's like, "All right, put this over with the Then do you?
Yeah, and I just grabbed the pile of skin and just. Eh.
What do you do with the skin? What do you do with it?
Some people keep it, but I don't really remember us ever keeping it. Again, something to lead it.
Is it like it's put this in a pile and we take this out to the woods and dump it? It's not like put this.
I think we'd honestly put it in the trash.
Okay.
I don't remember. I mean, we were close to the woods, so maybe we did. I don't really remember us doing that though. I kind of remember it being in the trash. I
don't think I would want, if I had kids, that I would want to start leaving parts for animals to come and eat and stuff, like out in my woods behind my house, that close.
That's true. That's probably why we didn't do it.
Yeah, because I already don't, like, you start to get animals and stuff, like if you just throwing out, like, compost stuff into the
Yeah. That's probably why we didn't do it.
So there was, I just picture like a family, like having a whole system. Like, we're going to
There
what we
is.
do, you know?
And Mom packages it.
And then everybody's just covered in blood, and then you all go in and
It's not really like that. It's already drained out. So it's not like the grinder is shooting blood out of it.
Oh, okay.
It's already been drained out.
Is there like a blood hole that gets drained to, or is it just on the ground?
Yeah, when you cut Dad would just kind of put like a cardboard box under it and flattened out, and it would like, because I mean, when you take the guts and stuff out, that's mainly most of the blood.
Okay.
So.
Plus, you've already cut the feet off, so I'm assuming a lot of blood's draining out.
No, it mainly comes out the neck hole when you got it hung up upside down. The remainder of it, I guess.
Yeah. And the blood just drips into a different piece of cardboard each time, or
yeah,
it's inefficient. Why not? It seems like
you think there should be a bucket underneath?
It seems like you'd have a system down where it'd be like, okay, we do this. This is what we do. The blood drips here, blah blah blah, but it's all sort of this messy, like, catch it into a cardboard box, and then we just throw everything in a trash bag and put it out at the curb.
Yeah. That's it.
Huh.
Does that make you view my upbringing differently?
It seems a lot less like the Native American. Now Native
oh,
American
yeah. I never said it was like it.
In my mind, I had it glamorized like that early on in this conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. It's different.
Yeah. All right. Huh.
That's not where I expected the conversation to go.
It's not, but I find that interesting that you have brothers and a family, and your dad hunts every day, and it's like part of what fed the family.
Yeah.
What percentage of it do you think you guys ate stuff that your dad hunted and killed, or your family hunted?
It was sometimes stuff I got too. I helped out, pulled my weight sometimes. Like all the meals?
Because I can tell you right now, my son's is 0%.
I'd say like 80%.
80%.
I think that's fair. 80% of our meals at home. Well, it depended on what time of year it was, too. Oh, also, we had a big freezer that we'd keep it in, too.
Still, that's amazing.
Maybe 75.
What percent of the food you eat now with your family is?
Like me and my wife? Like, what do we? It's takeout, dude.
Yeah. That's a big drop off in one generation.
Yeah. I'm not gonna store deer meat in my freezer in an apartment. Also, it's just not really my thing, hunting.
But you could go home and go into your mom's freezer and grab.
Sure. I ask for it when I come in. I'm like, do you guys have any deer that I can eat? It's good.
Of course, you're going to want to eat what you eat at home.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you don't bring a cooler. Bring a cooler home once a year or whatever. It's like
I think they have brought me some frozen stuff before when they came down a few times. I think.
Like, instead of going to the store and buying ground beef, like when you go home, bring a cooler full
of...
of...
I think I did that when I first moved down here one time.
Yeah, I would do that regularly. Especially if that was my diet growing up.
Yeah.
I would want... You don't...
Honestly, I was also kind of dumb and did not notice the difference. But now I do, obviously. But when I was a kid, I couldn't tell if it was beef or deer. Because then when I'd go to a friend's house and we obviously ate beef too. It wasn't like we were living completely like we ate
of course
canned stuff and whatever.
Right.
But it wasn't until like I got older. I was like, oh yeah, beef does taste different than deer.
Yeah, I feel
But I didn't know as a kid.
Do you go buy deer meat just like or do they sell it like at a farmer's market? I'm sure they sell it somewhere.
I don't
around. You
know.
ever go like, oh, let's have deer
I've been to
meat.
Harris Teeter and they were selling elk before, and I was like, oh, I'll try that. It was pretty good.
Is it more expensive than regular ground beef?
That's why I don't do it very much.
I literally now, as I'm thinking, I'm surprised that if you grew up eating even if it's 60%, 50% deer meat, that's not something you want to go find in like somebody here that sells deer meat or a hunter around here that has a freezer that does sell.
Nobody does it like. I mean, also another thing was like it's the way my mom cooked it, so it's like no one's gonna do it the way my mom did. I'm not gonna do it the way my mom did, so it's different. I like that being a little special thing. It's like that's the,
Okay.
for me.
Right.
Also, I'm kind of lazy.
Right.